Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at IX Web Hosting. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com to get up to 40% off your first year of the best hosting on the planet. Today's episode of Dueling Dialogue is brought to you by Saucy Eva. GMA's marinade is coming soon to a plate near you to gourmetize your meats and proteins. Coming to you from that once-forgotten artery that pulses through the center of the continental United States and into the heart of the Ozarks, Grace Matthews. Looking in from the northern border, our Canadian friend, along with his countrymen feeling the effects of U.S. political issues, Connor Murphy.
Welcome to Dueling Dialogues, episode 35. I'm Connor Murphy here with Grace Matthews in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, Grace. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. It's been a really snowy, cold weekend, but the sun is shining today, which is rare for the West Coast this time of year.
It's been a gloomy weekend here, and I tell you what, I'm doing this low carb, diet.
Right.
I spent the weekend trying to figure out how I could drink low carb. And believe me, the alternatives are kind of nasty.
Yeah, so, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's kind of hurting my happy hours. So, gee. So if anyone has any ideas, I'm open.
Okay, let's throw those in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a ton of news. Tons.
Oh my gosh. It's so juicy. I just keep saying that. It's juicy.
And frustrating. I find it frustrating.
It is. I mean, and right now it's kind of exciting, thrilling, funny, and some of it, especially the situation surrounding the Democratic Party, because it's almost like I told you so, or I knew it.
Right.
But you're right. It's going to move to frustrating because the power and the special privilege, as you call it, that the Clintons have is just amazing. Now, you know how I love to tie things to rock and roll.
Right.
This really reminds me of back in the 80s. Do you remember when ABBA and Fleetwood Mac, everybody was sleeping around with everybody else?
Yeah.
Actually, they were pretty transparent about it, speaking of. But eventually, it became love, hate, betrayal. You see, when all was said and done and estranged bedfellows didn't want to play with one another any longer, the damage to ABBA was irreplaceable.
Right.
Now, Fleetwood Mac, they kind of got back together again for a little bit, but it was never the same. They placed their hurt feelings on the back burner and did another album or two, and supposedly they're still together now, but we don't see a whole lot from them.
Right.
I'm not sure, but that the members of the DNC are actually sleeping together. My guess is no, since politics is such an overwhelming experience, it generally replaces the need for sex.
Right.
So bedfellows don't necessarily connotate sex. Nevertheless, it can be dirty, nasty, backstabbing. Even as these so-called confidants smile and nod in agreement, you know that they're gritting their teeth. However, this week the world gets a treat as the Dems' own Donna Brazile pulls the sheet off the bed and reveals what was once hidden.
Right.
The book does not come out till tomorrow, yet the speculation over the weekend has just been awesome. And the leaks, lots of leaks. Donna Brazile, for those that don't know, is a political strategist that once served as a CNN contributor and the interim DNC chair. And that was during the last few months of the 2016 election. Tuesday, Donna's tell-all book hits the shelf and promises to roll some Democratic hits. The talking points are jaw-breaking. And we'll start with the first one. Okay. The Brazile expose drives the Hillary camp into chaos. That is Fox News's talking point. Okay. I mean, when was the Hillary camp not in chaos? But still, it sounds good. According to Politico, Democrats are shaken and angered. Now, this one really is concerning, but not totally unexpected. Brazile reveals that Seth Rich's murder made her fear for her life. Now that is coming from the foreword. If you can remember, Seth Rich worked at the DNC office in Washington, D.C.
Right.
He is the one Julian Assange says provided WikiLeaks with the emails, the hacked emails from the DNC.
Yes, and primarily it was tagged as a conspiracy theory.
Absolutely. Sean Hannity nearly lost his job standing behind that story on Fox.
Right.
In fact, the family begged Sean not to discuss that story. The cops begged him not to. Now we see Donna Brazile coming forward and giving it some credit.
Wow, that's huge. Oh,
Seth
Hannity's going to love this.
Yeah, was murdered after leaving a pub on a Saturday night, right around the time that those emails broke. They were released by WikiLeaks. I am kind of worried for Donna Brazile because she is, a lot of this is really makes the Clintons look not so good.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, that just brings up some actual points that say that, hey, maybe Assange wasn't so crazy.
Exactly. She even claims that leading the DNC during Clinton run was worse than Hurricane Katrina. That's
wow.
That's from the New York Post.
Wow.
Now, Hurricane Katrina was pretty bad. And she did say last week that the nomination was rigged because Barack Obama had left the DNC broke. So Hillary had basically got the DNC out of hock.
Right.
So in her mind, they owed her. All decisions had to go through her Brooklyn office. Poor Bernie didn't have a chance in hell.
Bernie must have known what was going on, though. I'm surprised that.
You know, somebody said he did say that. He did know that where the money was coming from. Then there are others that said, well, no, poor Bernie, because Bernie really wasn't a Democrat. He's a socialist, which is an interesting take. And there's a little bit of truth in that. But certainly they were taking some of his fundraising money. So I think it's hard to discount that. Donna Brazile reportedly pondered replacing Hillary with Biden in 2016, and that's what's being reported by the New York Times. Do you remember when it was like September 11th, she visited the 9/11 memorial in New York City, and she fainted.
Right, I remember that.
Well, Donna Brazile didn't know what was wrong. Was she sick? This is not the first time Hillary had fainted. She's had a lot of fainting spells and had, at some point, had a aneurysm.
Right.
Donna was creating a backup plan, which meant putting Joe Biden on the tickets.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hillary wasn't that excited about that. That's one reason why she did not go to the hospital.
Okay.
The Clintons were afraid that they would replace her.
I was hoping for it time.
Absolutely. Actually, as a Republican, I wasn't really hoping for it, but, she was becoming very weak by then. She was becoming a weak candidate.
Becoming?
Well, even if you thought she was strong before.
No, never. I could not see the entire population buying into her bullshit, frankly. I believe she's the whole reason Trump is president. There just was no other choice. So,
well,
that's my 2 cents.
I'm not going to argue with you there. I'm really not. Donna also tells the critics that are trying to hush her, and she does say they're out there hushing her, to go to hell.
Sweet.
And I think she's even pulled the race card. She said they have treated her like a slave, that it was like a plantation. When people start pulling out those words, that makes headlines.
I'd like to have a beer with her, though.
I would, too. She would be a blast.
Yeah.
She's a strong woman.
Ballsy woman.
Oh, absolutely. The Clinton campaign, however, is shocked, troubled, and puzzled by Donna Brazile's bombshell claims, says the Washington Examiner. Donna Brazile's DNC revelations about Hillary Clinton aren't adding up, says GQ. Is that really an article for GQ?
Wow.
So they're still standing behind their woman, the Gentleman's Quarterly. And they are really in Hillary's camp there. Donna Brazile owes an apology to Julian Assange. WikiLeaks Assange warned of a rigged primary in 2016. That, according to the HuffPost. Now, truthfully, Trump said the same thing. She must owe him one, too, an apology. But what really takes the cake is Team Clinton responds to Donna Brazile. She's a victim of Russian propaganda.
Oh, my God. Oh, still on the Russian train. Wow.
I mean, can you really blame the Russians for everything?
Well, you can blame them for buying all of that uranium from them.
Absolutely. But they let them.
Yeah, I know. The tables need to be turned here.
Right. They prostituted our damn uranium.
I mean, while they are trying to find some sort of tie in evidence to Trump and failing at it horribly, Clintons are getting away with rigged elections and selling the uranium? 20%? I don't get it.
And taking all that money.
Wow.
When Hillary was in the State Department. I mean, that violates ethics.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't care how unethical you are. It would be hard to make that okay.
Yeah. So
it would be hard to explain that away.
You know, the deep state and the swamp runs deep, you know?
Oh, absolutely. It's just very deep. And it doesn't cross party lines. I mean, heck.
No.
George Bush came out and said he voted for Hillary this weekend. Really? I mean, they're all, the Clintons and the Bushes are just another part of the swamp. I mean, it really, you know.
I'm just thankful I didn't have to vote in that election because I'm still confused who I would have voted for. I mean, what I know now, I would definitely vote Trump. There's no way in the world I would have voted Clinton in. No way.
Oh, she's very scary. I mean, he makes us nervous, but I have a feeling she's much more frightening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of frightening, you know, we've had another horrible massacre.
I know.
Another one that is reportedly the worst of its kind to date. 26 are dead and 20 injured after a deranged, formerly court-martialed member of the Air Force opened fire during a Sunday services in a small church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Little town's only about half hour east of San Antonio. The town of only about 400 lost 4% of their population in a matter of moments. 8 of the victims were members of the same family. The shooter is dead, but the investigators are still trying to determine if he shot himself or if an armed citizen gave the crazed man the final bullet that ended his life.
Wow. Speechless. Again.
What can you say? The youngest victim was a 14-month-old baby.
Oh, my God.
There was a pregnant woman. He was court-martialed for abuse to his wife and his child. He was refused the purchase of those guns in Texas, though. That is not how he got the guns. So he got them on the black market, behind the scene. You know, people that want guns get guns.
Yes.
This could have been worse had 2 armed men not at least ran him down and possibly took him down with their own bullets. So I'm sure that this is going to bring out people wanting to take guns away from lawful citizens. But the laws that were in place worked. You know, if you want a gun, you can get a gun. It's kind of like if you are a heroin addict, you can get heroin.
Exactly. There
really is no difference. Unfortunately, with guns, you can hurt other people. Heroin hurts other people, but it doesn't murder so many.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, we move on to Obamacare. And just a personal note here. I received over the weekend my health insurance news that my health insurance will rise in premium. It'll go up another $220 per month.
Ouch.
Yeah, this is just really ridiculous. It takes my minimal insurance policy premium to $689 per month. Now, when you add that to the $6,500 deductible I have, in 2018, my premiums and my deductible, my out-of-pocket costs will add up to $14,768.
Unreal.
And now I just heard a few minutes before we aired that it's possible we will not be able to take these, what we pay in premiums, off of our taxes. So if you cannot take that off your taxes, the premiums you pay for health insurance, and you cannot take your state taxes, there is no way in the world this tax break will do anything but destroy people like me.
Unreal.
I mean, we can't, there's no way we could pay less taxes with that. They have simply got to come back to the table on that. And we are now in November. There's not a lot of time.
That's coming up this week or next week?
Well, that's the tax thing's coming up, but supposedly they weren't going to revisit the health care bill this year. But people are getting these notices like I did, because you have to re-up your insurance by December 15th.
Okay.
And my guess is they are going to hear, I got mine Saturday. As people get these, they're going to hear some screaming and shouting because it's out of control. And I didn't even have a choice. There was only one company available.
Wow.
The others had pulled out.
Unreal.
Yeah.
You need to move to Canada.
Yeah, it's a little cold there for me. Okay, on to some news. Okay. Senator Rand Paul, the one that irritates the life out of us a lot of times because he's the holdout. He's the Republican/Libertarian from Kentucky. Nevertheless, he is recovering after getting attacked from behind by his neighbor while he was mowing the lawn. The senator has 5 broken ribs. Oh, neighbors claim that Paul's attacker has repeatedly voiced a distaste for the Republican agenda. Apparently, the two have had words prior to Friday's attack. Now, I think the big news is here that Dr. Rand Paul, he is an ophthalmologist and a senator, mows his own grass.
I know. I was pretty shocked at that, too, when you said it.
I was just fascinated by that. I'm just... Wow. Okay.
How do you even have time?
I know, but it warmed my heart. I don't mow my own grass. I haven't done. I'm kind of thinking, gee, he does it and I don't. Oh boy. But last week, remember last Thursday, the House brought forth this tax bill that we were just kind of talking about. Well, it just got sent back to the House to do some reviving. Okay. I hope they find a sweet spot.
Right.
Because right now, I don't quite think they're there. The NYPD might be closing in on Harvey Weinstein, and that means a criminal arrest.
Good.
For twice raping, and I'm going to mess this pronunciation up, Pa de la Huerta, twice in her home in New York. If they have the ability to do that, will they go out to California or wherever he is and pick him up, or will they just arrest him if he comes to New York at some point? I don't know. I know. I would hope that they could get an extradition if they absolutely had enough against him, if they had enough evidence. So
lock him up and throw away the key.
Yeah. And I don't know. We got to lock some people up in Chicago.
Yeah.
It is so out of control. So far this year, and you got to remember, we've got 2 more months, basically. There have been 593 gun-related homicides. Oh, wow. Now, this is in a state that is the toughest state in the country on gun laws. You basically cannot have a gun there. Now, not only have they had almost 600 shot and killed, they've had 3,200 more shot within the city limits.
Wow. Holy smoke. That's even
I mean, and I loved Chicago. I used to love to go there. I am scared to death to go there and go to some of the restaurants and the shows, and I haven't been there for a while because it's just too scary, and it's the largest cool city. I don't know. I can get there in 7 hours if I drive, and there's actually cheap flights. But no way. But that's not the only cesspool in Illinois. Apparently, Illinois has its own sexual cesspool in its state government.
What?
Yeah, several complaints have surfaced, prompting one Republican member to introduce legislation for a hotline. I mean, that's a lot. If you need to put in a hotline, that's a lot. And that's at the state government in Springfield, Illinois.
Okay. That just boggles the mind.
Oh my gosh, I know. It is terrible. But here's something good and interesting. Archaeologists have discovered an ancient gymnasium near Cairo, Egypt, dating back 2,300 years ago. That puts it in use during the Hellenistic period, and that is a proof positive that Greek life existed in Egypt during that time.
Wow.
Which has kind of been a little bit controversial.
I should check. I'm still probably paying the premiums to go to that gym.
Probably. My gosh, there's lots of statues that's in really great shape, a meeting room and a track, and yes, it stayed great because people just pay and pay for those gymnasiums, don't they?
Yeah.
That they don't.
You know, the girl called me the other day and said, "Would you like to renew your gym membership?" I said, "Sure. Where are you located?"
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Well, and one of your favorite jerks, Anthony Wiener.
Oh, the Wiener.
Surrendering to authorities today to begin serving his 21-month sentence for sexting a 15-year-old girl.
Well, it took long enough, but okay.
Yeah, so.
We'll take it.
Saudi Arabia is clearing the muck out of their swamp.
Cool. 11
princes and dozens of former ministers are being detained in a new anti-corruption probe headed by none other than the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Wow. Maybe the DNC should take note.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and I'm surprised about the 11 princes. I mean, that's basically part of the family. I'm wondering if the fact that the rest of the world is, gaining more access to non-Saudi oil, if they've got to kind of clean house and watch their bucks.
Well, it puts into question the stability of that country now, though.
Good point. They did come to the agreement that women over 30 next year can start getting their driver's license.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goody. As long as a man's in the car, apparently. But I
yeah,
guess
that's pretty much the deal. Yeah.
But I guess it's a baby step in the right direction.
Well, but it does speak to what you said. Is there some underlying instability? I mean, certainly we want women to have rights, and Sharia law should be flushed down the toilet, if you ask me. But the fact that they're giving into this suggests what? I don't know. You may have a point, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. Now, here's a crazy one. A man gets 4 years in the slammer for sending strippers to his neighbor's house to strip on the front porch. This went on and it happened dozens of times over a 3-year period of time.
Male or female strippers?
I believe it was female. I believe the illusion was female because the family was upset about the women showing breasts to their children.
Obviously, I have no luck in neighbors. Like, where's this neighbor that sends strippers over to strip on my front doorstep? I feel ripped off. Oh, my.
If only you could be so lucky, right?
Yeah, exactly. He was the greatest neighbor in the world.
Oh, wow. Gosh.
And he's doing 4 years in jail, but yet selling 20% of the country's uranium to Russia is okay?
Yeah, that doesn't even get 4 years.
You guys confuse me.
We are confusing. But sometimes we even have to take down a judge. A Texas judge is facing charges of road rage and pointing a gun at an individual. Apparently, there have been previous incidents of road rage with District Judge Guy Williams, but enough is enough, and he is out on a $25,000 bond. Wow. I'd say he's been a really bad boy. I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
For a judge.
No
it's
kidding.
Pretty big for anybody over road rage that really didn't kill somebody, Yeah. I don't know.
He is from Texas, so the gun thing makes sense.
Well, and a district judge, that might be a lifetime appointment. I should probably really look that up. I don't know. But I don't know if you've spent time watching in the past, back when they did really cool shows on the Discovery Channel. They always have this spontaneous combustion stories,
Yeah.
Well, right now, BMW has to recall at least 1 million vehicles with a fire risk because they simply, and this can happen sitting in the driveway, nobody in it, spontaneously combust into flames.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
It's a hot car.
Yeah. Okay, this weekend we have more complaints, and they grew over the weekend as victims came forward complaining of unwanted sexual advances at the hands of Kevin Spacey. Now, this is rather disturbing. Richard Dreyfuss's son Harry wrote about Spacey. This is his quote. Spacey, knew he could fondle me in a room with my father and I wouldn't say a word. He knew I wouldn't have the guts, and I didn't.
Holy smoke.
How terrible.
Wow.
His father, he had gone with his father when he was 18 years old to Kevin Spacey's apartment so that they could practice a play they were doing.
Huh.
And with his father's back turned, Spacey was touching him.
Creepy.
It's nuts. It's nuts. And, the nuts, I don't know, this is disturbing too. A new Dutch play, PC is really going amok here, about Anne Frank, doesn't mention Jews or Nazis. I can't even fathom how you do that. In fact, it smears the historic figure.
Well, they might as well just turn it into a musical then. This is ridiculous.
Who doesn't love Anne Frank?
Yeah.
You don't have to be Jewish to love her. The denial of truth reeks of anti-Semitism. Shame on them.
Yeah, no doubt.
According to Livestrong, you know how I love that site,
Yeah.
Livestrong.com and CNN Money, the extreme weather around the globe, along with the California wildfires, promise to make wine in short supply soon. Production will decrease by 8.2% in 2018. Yikes, because guess what? Red wine is low carb.
Oh, there you go.
What am I going to do?
Well, I'm sure they'll tack on 20% on the price.
I've got to be able to find it if it's low carb.
Need to start make your own.
Happy hour.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a tip for all these Republicans and conservatives out there, and they need to take heed. Those ones that are, out there in the limelight. They need to quit waving to crowds with outstretched arms. The still shots we're getting are being used to portray them as neo-Nazi, Hitler-esque demigods hailing the crowd. Now, the way they can avoid this, Connor, is by waving with jazz hands.
Awesome.
And
Love
that's
it.
Grace's tip of the day.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Well, this is going to be a busy week. I think there's going to be a lot more news coming out as the Democrats try and saturate it and to draw attention away from them. So going to be an interesting week. November 4th passed.
It did. The Antifa kind of...
Yeah.
They really, not many people came out.
I was waiting all day for some sort of news somewhere and nothing.
I was too. And thank goodness it fickled. I hope it remains that way. You really need a platform. You can't just go hating on somebody.
Yeah.
Because if you just go hating on someone or an issue, it loses steam.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be for something. You have to have a goal. You got to have a plan. And I think that's what their problem is. You can't just be hating on Trump.
And above all, you got to have common sense.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Well, we can agree on that.
We sure can. And we don't always agree, but life's a journey and we're all in this together. Please remember, do not become a victim. #nobody's victim. Thanks for listening. Godspeed, Connor, and Godspeed to all of our friends out there.
Godspeed, Grace, and thanks for listening, everybody.
Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at IX Web Hosting. Click the banner on the right leftchronicles.com to get up to 40% off your first year of the best hosting on the planet. Today's episode of Dueling Dialogue is brought to you by Saucy Eva. GMA's marinade is coming soon to a plate near you to gourmetize your meats and proteins.